what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. We're going to take a look at the car. You're going to see the vids before you see this video, hopefully. And actually, they're pretty bad. The Dragy vids are embarrassing. It is what it is. I did awful, but some strange numbers because I spun really hard. We tried it on asphalt, we tried it on blacktop, and of course it was cooler out, and it was pretty ugly. But anyways, we're in the garage. We got the car up. We're going to take a look at the lower control arms. We're going to loosen one side only, which is the back side that mounts to the axle. We're going to remove that side. And the idea is not to get the axle to move too much, so we're going to leave the other side connected, and then we're going to check our upper control arm length. According to BMR, it's supposed to be 9 inches from center to center, so we're going to check that. My pinion angle can't be correct the way these lower control arms are sitting. You want a -2 angle on your rear pinion according to BMR, so I'm not really able to get it under there, and I wanted to take a picture but I forgot. So I already got the car up, wheels off, but I'll let you take a look at the lower control arm, see what it looks like. It's actually inverted from the chassis where it's mounted. It's supposed to go down to the axle. It's actually reverse. It goes up. So let's take a look, and then we'll start wrenching on this thing. So pretty much in this car's level, it's probably kind of hard to tell, but you can see where it mounts here to the chassis, and then it actually goes upward and mounts the rear axle. So how we're going to correct that, these monsters here, there's one per side. These are going to bolt on. This is a BMR piece. These are going to bolt on and allow us to drop that rear lower control arm and go down where it's supposed to be. So what we're going to do first, and I'm not going to go piece by piece because it's just kind of hard. I don't have my GoPro going right now, to be honest with you. So we're going to remove it from the rear, torque it back to specs when we get it all assembled. So just take note, these pieces are different. They are not the same. I don't have directions, so I got to get online and see if I can download something, find out which one goes to which side, because they are, again, completely different. All right, we got a 15mm socket on the axle damper. This is going to come off first. And we are following instructions right from BMR website. This is what it looks like. Off. This is the damper balancer right here. Next, with an 18mm socket, we're going to remove the mount for the lower control arm. Then we can get to the bracket on the axle. And that's where we're going to mount that bracket to, right to the bracket here on the axle. So because of how these are torqued on, they're really hard to get off, so I'm using a breaker bar to get some leverage on it to get this off, so you will have to do the same. Once you get it broken loose, and throw a ratchet back on it, get it off. So we got it loose. Pretty much pulls it right out. This should drop down. We got our emergency brake cable bracket going through there, and I don't know if we need to move that or not, so I need to check. C-clip holding on that emergency brake cable. We did have to remove it because we just couldn't get enough slack in that cable to get that control arm down. So we're going to have to just reroute it. What we'll do is get it connected first and then figure out how we want to reroute that cable, and then we'll get it tied up with some zip ties. Make sure it's out of the way. We're working this side on. We're still on the passenger side. There is a bolt in the top. We can see it here. It's a mounting that secures it. Here, right where my finger is. Right there. We're gonna bolt that, torque that, and then there are torque specs on the BMR website. And then we torque these bottom bolts, hunker in, lower control arm, and then mount to 129 foot-pounds. So you can see now where that lower control arm angles down. We may have shifted the axle back a hair. I don't know, but we'll find out when we get the load off and get the tire back on it. But maybe not. Hey guys, we're actually rolling into day 2 on this project. We needed a 22 millimeter box in wrench. I didn't have one of those. So, and it was late, wasn't able to pick one up. So on the way home today, picked up a Craftsman metric wrench kit. We'll show you what we got. Yeah, so basically 22 millimeter, which is actually what we needed, and just having a few extra anyways, it's always good to have. So, all right. Let's talk a little bit about lower control arms. So I don't want you guys to do what I did, right? So we had a lowered Mustang purchased. Yes, we brought on traction problems as we modded, and then we tried to correct. We went with the billet aluminum from Steeda, very nice pieces. However, when we lowered or moved the lower control arm with the relocation bracket, we actually lowered how that mounted on the axle. It moved slightly, I think, back, not much, but a little bit. So we may have gone a little bit off center. You want to make sure that your wheel is in the center of your wheel well. So we're going to measure that and take a look at that right now. But if that is an issue, really what we should have to correct that are the adjustable lower control arm pieces. So we don't have those. We have solid pieces. They were meant to go on to normal cars, you know, with standard height. But again, live and learn. So as we go down this journey, we're learning a little bit here and there. So anyways, let's take a look, see where we're at. In this case, we might be okay, because it looks like the back is spread out more than the front. So we got about 1.5 inches distance tire to the wheel well, and we actually have a little bit more. We have about 2 inches. So in perspective, we might be okay. Let's get this thing buttoned up, get the wheel on, and we'll measure it, and then if it lines are the same, we're in business. All right, we got all the bolts torqued on the specs, 129 pounds. This is kind of tough doing this on the damn ground, I can tell you that. So this is what it looks like. You see that bracket kind of extends down from the upper bracket. It just kind of bolts right on there. It's got a spacer, then another bolt at the bottom, and then there is also a bolt at the top right here that bolts to the back side of that. That's what that looks like. That's also torqued to 129 foot-pounds of torque. All right, we got the tire on the side that we have the. It's so hard to do from the eye and the camera. So it's 2 inches to the line on the tire from the body mode. It doesn't look that way from the camera, but from where I'm seeing it, maybe right about there, roughly 2 inches. So it did. We're about, we go to the back side, bottom of the stripe, 2.5 inches to the line in the tire. Maybe bottom of the stripe again. Yeah, it's still about, sorry, about 2 inches to the line in the tire. But I don't think it moved it out disproportionately. So let's take a look at this side. Oh yeah, you can see how it moved. Oh, maybe not. We're about right there. Let's do it backwards. Sorry, I can't hold it that way. We're on the line. The tire roughly can't hold it steady. Sorry, guys. The bottom of the stripe, it's about 2 inches. I think we're good. I don't think she moved. All right, we got everything torqued on. It doesn't appear like the wheels moved. We're about 1.5 inches from the body line on both sides. The driver's side, however, was a little more difficult to put on. My axle shifted on me, and I had to do some maneuvering to get it lined up with the top mounting bolt. This is not an easy task. Some challenging work, I guess. You're going to need some heavy-duty tools, a little bit bigger. I had to get a 22mm socket. It's tough wrenching 129 foot-pounds when you're lying on the ground and you have no leverage. But we got her done. We did remove the stock weight dampers, I think they're called. BMR recommend you could remove them or use them, but they did recommend to not use them, and they had bolts to replace them, so I took them off. I think we're good. We're just gonna do a test drive. I'm not gonna do any hard hits. We're gonna take a look under, just see what it looks like. It's totally different. There you go. So now we're at the right angle. So if you're lowered more than 2 inches, BMR recommends that you use the third slot. There's 3 slots to use on these relocation brackets. If you're 1 inch or less, you use the top one. If you're 1 to 1.5, use the middle. And if you're 2 or more, use the bottom. So we are 2 or more. There are some hefty bolts, as you can see, sticking out there. I don't like that. There is enough spacing though, however. But there's some honkers. We're gonna test drive and see what it does. I'm not gonna hit it hard. We're assembled. Everything's torqued on, wheels torqued on. Call me Chicken Little. I'm always nervous. So I'm not gonna hit it hard. I'm just gonna do a nice test, you know, just to get a feel. Make sure the car's okay. Maybe do a quick short time, see what happens. We're gonna go for a drive. Now, I don't have my GoPros on, I'm using my phone, so it's gonna be a little shaky. There's gonna be no other views but the Dragy view when we do this, all right? My starter's hanging up. Burning corn. It's got a sweet smell. Yeah, so I'm considering a data log later. Let's see if we can get that straightened out. Maybe get another tune. I don't know. All right, we're gonna go for a drive, like I said. Get the car warmed. Turn you guys off for a few minutes. Because I know you don't want to go for a ride with me, so we'll be back soon. Man, these roads are nice. State came in and blacktop everything. Sweet. We'll talk a little bit about our 2 videos yesterday, our Dragies. If you noticed, there was a couple different short times on the asphalt. I was at 2.6, I believe, maybe a 2.65, and when I went to the blacktop, I was at 2.25. Ironically, it was very ironic between those 2 runs, because I backed way out of the second run because I was slipping, so there's no need for me just to push it through. But I coasted. I think I got to 87 miles an hour. My ET was 1305, and my first run, when I went way out, my ET was also 1305, but it was 117 and some change mile an hour. Now, if we compare that run to my old run from last fall, and that's before we added the 32 rear wheel horsepower. It's before we added all the lower control arm, upper control arm, because I had really traction problems. I didn't do anything to the rear end, actually. That's when I found out, I really need to do some work there. But anyways, we ran a 1394. So, hey, a 13.5 isn't great. However, it's an improvement where we were last fall. Now, I suspect this car's got to do way, way better than that. And that's why we are, working the suspension, trying to get this thing to hook up. If we continue to have problems as far as getting the car to hook, I am going to go back to my 373 gears. Those are my stock gears. And then we'll work from those. That'll give me more mile an hour, because right now I maxed at 7,800 RPM. I was 117, maybe 0.4, I think. I don't remember exactly, somewhere around there. I could probably get my mile an hour up, and the car will hook better, because the gears are a torque multiplier, and what is it? The drive shaft will rotate 3.73 turns per 1 revolution of the tire. With the 410s, it rotates 4.1 turn per 1 revolution of the tire. You like my little finger there, right? So even though it doesn't sound like much, if you do the math, it's divide 373 into 410. I forget what the numbers were, but it is a big jump. So going back to 373s maybe to take it, but we'll see. I know Bren's speed. His Blue Balls car had the Steeda anti-roll bar set up in the back, and they went to a different clutch because the dual clutch was grabbing too hard. That's what they had to do to get that car to hook up at the drag strip. They were 70 rear wheel horsepower. I think they were a little bit lighter. They also had 410s, and that car was violent. But Steeda also says 410s are a very aggressive gear, and probably going back down to a 373 will put things back into perspective, and whereas we should be start getting traction. Now the car doesn't feel bad. There is a lot of sway still, though. I suspect maybe air pressure's off or something. I have not checked the air in these tires, so bad. My bad on that, right? All right, we're gonna turn around and do a quick hit and see what happens. I can tell you, we're still slipping. Yeah, that's all slip. However, my traction control is off. I don't know what to do with this damn thing. I backed right out of it in first gear. Traction control's working. Well, you saw it firsthand. Kind of sucky. Real sucky for me. Real sucky. I'm in a loss right now, but kind of burned out. Anyways, I think good night's rest. Put the car away, forget about it for a while, and get back at it. So I'm not going to be doing any racing until I can get this car to hook. And if it's going to take, like I said, going back to my stock gears, then we're going to do that. Without traction control, this thing's crazy. It's just crazy. It spins violently. Traction control, yeah, it still spins, but we're slipping. I think my short time was I don't know, 232 again, something like that. But anyways, you just have to keep modding and seeing what works and get us back to where we need to be. All right, guys. Hope you like the content. Like and subscribe. Thanks, and it's a beautiful evening out there. Get out there and enjoy it. That's what I'm going to do. Take care.